Oh my gosh. Things keep getting crazier and crazier. Okay. After a loss last night to the New York Knicks, your Dallas Mavericks are now 4-12. You look at that record and you think we must be the worst team in the West or the worst team in the NBA. And that's not necessarily true. This is what I mean when I say things keep getting crazier. At the moment, we are third from the bottom in the Western Conference. Right? Only ahead of the Sacramento Kings and the New Orleans Pelicans. Hey, thank you for your service. Right? At least we have that going for us, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about what's been going wrong on the court, a lot of the weird distractions that are happening off the court, and per the thumbnail today, I think a lot of this still has to do with Nico Harrison. We're going to dive into that here in just a moment, but let me make a quick intro. My name is Ethan, the advisor Clayton. Welcome to the party. And by party, I mean dope podcast. This is Your Mavs, a Dallas Mavericks podcast where all are welcome. Y'all better behave. Okay, lots to talk about today. Let's do this. So I mentioned here at the start that things are just crazy. Again, on the basketball side of things, we cannot figure it out. Okay, we're 4-12. To our credit, we're playing competitively. It's not like we're getting blown out, except for against the Timberwolves, right? That game was never even close. Okay, but by and large, we're losing in the clutch. Okay, and a lot of things can factor into clutch losses, but I think that the three main things for us are missed free throws, turnovers, and giving up offensive rebounds. Those are the things you've heard me talk about and harp on pretty much since day one of this season, right? And that continues to still be the case. Now, last night's loss, it was 113-111 to the New York Knicks. Yeah, there were some missed free throws. Yeah, we were still turning the ball over. Yeah, D'Lo was just wilding out there, right? I guess he scored a fair amount and got some assists. Maybe he's trying to boost his value. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But yeah, I think with all the things that we can point to that are going wrong right now, we still had a chance to, if not win the game, to at least send it to overtime, right? You saw the beautiful inbounds play. By the way, Jason Kidd was cooking whenever he drew up that play in the timeout here. Coming out of a full court out of bounds situation, lob pass to D Live at half court. He jumps and catches, immediately dumps it off to a streaking Brandon Williams who got to the hoop so quickly, but they called an offensive foul. Like literally, I don't understand. Maybe I don't understand the NBA rules as well as I should. I do understand that there was like his arm was a little bit wrapped around Landry Shamet, but everything leading up to that moment, right? Shamet was all over him like white on rice. I'm not sure what Brandon Williams is supposed to do to create any sort of separation to get a good look at the last moment. But that's neither here nor there. I think all things being equal, the Mavericks could and maybe should have won that game if we hadn't done some of those other things that I talked about. Again, the silly turnovers, the missed free throws. I don't really understand that part of it. We're like one of the leaders in the NBA in getting to the free throw line. Like that's a good thing. That means we're attacking the hoop and we're doing a good job of drawing fouls. But I don't understand the just barely 70% shooting from the line. I don't get it. You guys are making big bags, and I think you practice at least once every day, probably multiple times a day. Go get on the free throw line. Go work that out until you just can't anymore. Like literally, you don't want to put yourself in a position where a ref has to make a snap decision and your fate lies in their hands. Like, don't do that to yourself anymore. But regardless, if you're hashtag team tank here, last night was good. It's really, really good. You like to see the competitive effort from our guys, even though we were without Cooper Flagg. We were without, of course, Anthony Davis. Derek Lively is still playing under a minutes restriction. So, there's a lot of things that you could point to that, hey, maybe when we're fully healthy, we're putting a winning product on the floor. I don't know, right? I'm just a silly podcaster here. But listen, They're playing competitively. Jason Kidd knows how to get the guys amped up. Okay. Now, maybe it's an encouraging sign that we're losing in close games because, if we're finding ourselves in clutch situations constantly, having a player like Kyrie Irving back on the court, suddenly like we're getting buckets where we weren't getting them before. So it's not going to be quite as ugly as it is right now. Okay. Speaking of Kyrie Irving, guys, when I tell you there's just so much being reported right now, there's so much going on day in, day out. It's hard to even keep up. But one of the things that's kind of driving me crazy, today is Thursday. So Tuesday, we get the report that if it were the playoffs, Kyrie is in good enough shape to come back and play. If it were, right? Obviously, we're still 4 weeks into the season. Like we're not anywhere close to that. But if we were and he was needed to play, then he could play. That is a really encouraging sign. I'm like, you know what? Great. Maybe we'll have Kyrie back like early 2026. Start cooking. Okay. Then the very next day, Wednesday, we get this report that yes, in fact, Kyrie is progressing well. His rehab is going marvelously. However, his return this season is still in question for other reasons. How about that? Do you think you know what those other reasons might be? To my handful of subscribers here, I think I might have an idea. I think it has everything to do with us being Team Tank. Okay, right? Like it makes sense. We don't have control of our own draft capital for a really long time after this season. So go ahead, play poorly. We don't even have to try to play poorly. We're just tanking organically. You love to see it. There's not going to be any accusations about whether or not we were tanking on purpose. Like, no, we're just not good at basketball right now. That's fine. So you tank and then you go get that really high draft pick, maybe even get lucky again and land the top three. Top three would go gangbusters on this roster, by the way. I'm very much team Darren Peterson. My dad is like hardcore scouting the college talent right now. And I get more than one text per day about how amazing Darren Peterson is. Give me more of that. So keep losing. That's fine. But that goes directly in contradiction with what we heard from Mark Cuban yesterday. At the beginning of the day on Wednesday, the November 19th, it was reported that the Dallas Mavericks will be testing the market for Anthony Davis, right? Great. I think a lot of Mavs fans were relieved to hear that. Not that there's just a ton of hate for AD out there right now, but if we're going to be future-minded and really, truly build around Cooper Flagg, one of the first things that has to happen is we need to trade for some draft picks, okay? And maybe AD's value is enough for us to get draft picks in return. However, okay, that was Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon/evening, there was the report from The Athletic that Mark Cuban replied to their email saying, we won't trade Anthony Davis this season. We won't do it. We want to try to win. Hold on, pause. So on the one hand, you've got Kyrie Irving, whose rehab is going incredibly well. He could return soon. And, if you're to believe what was reported the other day, he could play right now if we were in a playoff situation. Then he's progressing well, but he may not return because other reasons, like maybe us tanking to get a high draft pick. And then it's reported that Anthony Davis is going to be traded. And then Mark Cuban's like, no, we're not. We're not going to do it. I have no idea what the mess is going on. It is just wild out here. Me personally, if I'm the GM, right, whether it's interim or I'm the new hot shot that's brought in by this in-depth search, the thing is, we're going to be very clear in our messaging about what we're trying to accomplish. And that what we're trying to accomplish is building a incredible roster around Cooper Flagg, right? Our guy still about 6 weeks away from turning 19 years old. He is already showing flashes of being a superstar, if I may. Okay. We're talking both sides of the ball. Now, obviously he could shoot the ball more efficiently, but he's going to start getting more looks as he's getting reps on the court with players like Kyrie Irving. So, man, if I'm not conflicted, I don't know what I am. Seriously. Like, I want Kyrie to return as soon as possible so that Cooper Flagg can get good reps with an elite ball handler, with an elite guard, something he hasn't gotten to do yet. I'm sorry, Brandon Williams. I'm sorry, D'Angelo Russell. I'm sorry, two-way contract guy, Ryan Nembhard. Y'all are not elite ball handlers. Y'all are not elite guards at this time in your lives. Okay. That title, that designation is assigned to Kyrie Irving. Okay. So on the one hand, yeah, I want Kyrie Irving to return soon, so that the sooner they get reps on the court, the faster we see Coop's development take off, right? Get him on the court with an elite ball handler. Let's watch and see what happens. On the other hand, if Kyrie returns and we're like 15 games below 500, what is the point, right? Like if there is any risk of him re-aggravating an injury and we're playing that poorly, I don't know that I'm in favor of that. Okay. But, guys, I'm sorry I'm all over the place today. This news, these reports that we're getting are all over the place. So it's really hard to know how to react. Okay. And there was something that was reported just a few minutes ago that I'll get into very briefly. But like, we can always look back to last season in AD's debut against the Houston Rockets. We had that 3 quarters of absolute cinema of basketball. Okay. But at that time, Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis were on the court. It looked good, right? If we keep finding ourselves in these clutch situations where we're down by 2 points or down by 1 point, and we need to just find a way to get an easy bucket to either win the game or force overtime, whatever that looks like, having Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis on the court will win us those games, right? Not all of them, right? Because, you've heard me talk about this quite a bit. Anthony Davis is not a good shooter right now, okay? So if he's going to be the one that puts us in a position to win games, it's going to be because he's driving hard to the hoop and getting fouled and hitting his free throws at a high clip. If it's Kyrie that's winning us these games, it's simply because he has gravity, he has motion, he has like the world's greatest ball handling, and he's going to drive to the hoop, he's going to attract attention, he's going to dish it out to a wide open corner 3 to Max Christie. You can see this really, like, without even seeing it on the court. You know that these are the things that are going to be happening. Because we have talented players. We have, in my opinion, a great coach that knows how to pull the right strings, that knows how to get the guys really fighting hard. Okay. And as bad as we are right now, this is the last thing I'm going to say before I'm going to move on to another wild, crazy update that we got today. And then I'm going to wrap it up. Where was I even going with that? Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis. Maybe it wasn't that important. Maybe I should just move on to what else is happening. And then as soon as I get to that, it'll come back to me. Listen, this is like fresh off the press, hot off the press. Per Sean Baum, Dante Exum, Dallas Maverick, I guess, will have season-ending knee surgery. Okay, Dante Exum, the same guy that we stretch and waived Omax Prosper from our roster for, right? It's like, yeah, we have 16 players. We can only have 15. So why don't we just go ahead and axe our first round draft pick from 2 seasons ago for this guy, right? That maybe at one point was an effective basketball player, a decent point of attack defender, a decent ball handler, and he even got better at shooting threes. But Lord have mercy, he cannot stay on the court. And we got rid of Omax. Like, see ya, pal. Thanks for your service. We're making room for Dante can't stay healthy Exum. Okay. Now you can see I'm kind of losing my mind over this. He's done. Like, he didn't even set foot on the court. Like, not during training camp, not during preseason, not during the first week or second week or third week. He won't touch the floor this season. He's just dead space on our roster. He is dead cap, if you will. Okay. So that is why the thumbnail today for this video is still Nico Harrison. This is still very much a Nico Harrison thing. I will never, ever understand the thought process behind, you know what? It didn't quite work out, and like maybe the one chance that Omax got to, make an impact on the court. And that happened last season when we were in our dire straits. We were looking at possibly having to forfeit games because we didn't have enough guys. Okay. Omax got time. He looked impactful. He wasn't like awesome, but you know what they say, the best ability is availability. Okay. Dante Exum and availability do not go in the same sentence. Like, it doesn't, they just don't mesh. Okay. And Now I truly believe he will never play basketball ever again. He maybe could have if he didn't do whatever the heck he did to his knee. And maybe if he had gone overseas and not been part of this cursed roster that Nico set us on, maybe that wouldn't have happened. I feel bad for the guy, but you're gone, pal. See ya. Thank you for your service. I'm sorry about your knee. But guys, I don't know how we move on from this. Like, it's already tweeted by Bobby Marks that we don't even have eligibility to use that 10-day hardship rule to create space on a roster to bring another guy in. We can't do it. In fact, we can't do anything until January 6th to rectify this empty spot on our roster, because Homie is not playing basketball this season or probably ever again. All right. That's just me being super dramatic. You do with that information what you will, because I'm telling you, it's getting crazier and crazier by the day. There's Mark Cuban stuff going on. There's all this bickering that I guess was going on behind the scenes between Nico Harrison and Mark Cuban. I don't know who I agree with less at this moment. Nico obviously did a lot of damage to this franchise, but Nico's pointing his fingers at Mark Cuban for letting Jalen Brunson walk, right? And then Mark Cuban was quoted to say, we got rid of Jalen because we were doing our best to get Luka help, and Jalen wasn't Jalen then. Like, dude, just stop talking. Just stop it. Give the Mavericks fans just maybe a week off from all of these shock and awe headlines around what was going on behind the scenes with the front office. Let's get a week off from like devastating injury news. Now, I'm not devastated over Dante Exum. I'm just devastated that we waived Omax Prosper to make room for a guy that was never going to play basketball. And that sounds like a very Nico Harrison move. But again, guys, do with this information what you will. I'm sure by the time I'm done recording this, there will be some conflicting reports to what I just told you. So in the meantime, hang tight. We'll see what comes across the Twitterverse here. But until I see you, y'all be good. Peace.